2 o'clock in the morning. I've already drank enough caffeine to kill a small animal. I'm not going to vote. There, I said it. And it's not because I'm anti-American. It's not because I don't give a shit what happens to my country. It's not because I'm unpatriotic. It's not because I don't support our troops. It's not because I'm indifferent. It's not because I'm a nihilist. It's not because I don't care about anything. It's very, very simple. But every time I tell anyone I'm not going to vote, or they even hear a hint of someone considering not voting in the presidential election or any other, even local elections, that always rings up those sentiments. Even otherwise intelligent people just bombard me with, why do you not care about your country? Why are you throwing away your freedoms? And all this ridiculous stuff like that. Well, here's why. And it's not for any of those reasons. It's very simple. In our current system, the only thing that matters as far as getting power control is the majority opinion. If you don't get the largest block of people to think exactly the same way you do and vote for the same candidate, it means nothing. You're going to receive absolutely no power, no voice, no say, nothing. And so my personal political opinions are not in the gigantic 45%, 60% block. And so I'm not going to win a majority election. And so it's not, okay. People often then stop me right there and say, well, how else could it be? Well, if 5% of the world, or 5% of the United States wanted XYZ party, and they voted for that in the presidential campaign, if XYZ party then got 5% of the seats in some governing body, that would be an example where the minority opinion has a voice. And that would also break up with a lot of different parties, and you'd see a lot of different people. But here's the deal. It's either all or nothing. You either get just gigantic mass of people, or you get absolutely no voice, no vote, nothing, no say, no diversity in our government system that way at all. That's why there's only two parties. Because they have to try to get the biggest mass group of people they can. Well, I personally have a minority opinion. And it's not going to win. And so I either have to vote for my minority opinion, which does nothing, or I have to concede and vote for one of the majority sides that are moderates, that blast the people that follow them with propaganda, that are basically like middle-of-the-roaders because they're trying to consult their political analysts to get 3% more vote with urban lesbians. It's ridiculous. The other thing I get when I say I have a minority opinion, people say, why don't you get more active, Why don't you start going to protests and start having speeches and blast the internet and get people all signed up? Check it out. Is this really this hard to believe? I don't want everyone to think the same way I do. I don't want to, as far as I'm concerned, all those political rallies and all the science stuff, people with too much money and too much time on their hands. I don't want to brainwash you into thinking the same way. I don't want to consult analysts to try to say, oh, great, in order to get the 45%, we got to reach more 3% of urban blacks. That's a bunch of bullshit. I want you to be free and have inquiry and think and devote to discussions or whatever the fuck you want to do. I want it up to you, not me. I don't want to try to blast you into believing the exact same way and try to get an extra 2% up so I can just barely get the majority so I can control all the power. I want to be free to think what I want. I would vote if it would do any good whatsoever. Even if the minority vote got even just a tiny little say, I would vote. But right now you get nothing. Zero. Zip. Zilch. And I'm not going to vote to have it not matter. And I'm not going to go the other way around and vote for one of these middle-of-the-line moderates because of the Republican Democratic Party that are both trying to appeal the largest possible mass group that don't represent what I think. So I'm just screwed. I have no choice. And what's sad is even the third-party candidates, they would act a lot more like Republicans and Democrats if they actually had the statistical probability of winning. You'd see them go a lot more moderate. You'd see them consulting all these political analysts, try to get that extra 3%. And I just don't feel that that's a good thing. I mean, I don't want to blast propaganda at you for you to agree with me and try as hard as I can to raise that extra 4% just so I can get all the power and get the largest mass group of followers. Does that sound like freedom to you? Does that sound so wonderful and amazing and patriotic? It's crap. I have a minority opinion. I'm not going to vote in a system that gives no power, no say, and no voice to minority opinion. There's no point. It's as if I never voted at all. So I won't vote. But it's not because I don't love this country. It's not because I don't give a fuck about my rights or my freedoms or any of those reasons. I just explained it to you. If we went to a system that gave any shared power or diversity to a minority opinion, so say 5% of people voted for XYZ party got 5% of the seats in some governing body, I would vote. And so would everyone else. And you wonder why people don't vote. You wonder why all the candidates blast propaganda of smear ads, water down their speeches to where they hardly say anything. Because they have to get the largest, dumbest mass possible, or they have no jobs, no power, no say. Now, granted, if they did go to a system that gave some say to minority opinion, you'd have more gridlock and it'd be harder to make decisions, but even that could be overcome by adjusting what majority means as far as like votes are concerned. And even with that, though, I think we'd have a lot healthier environment where people are having open discussions and there's more than one type of opinion. Right now we have polarization. It's like you talk to Republicans and they fucking hate Democrats. They're like, bleeding heart, you know. Talk to Democrats and they're like, and they're all fighting and fighting and fighting and they're all like intense and they scream and yell at each other and stuff and they're trying as hard as they can to get those extra 4% swing votes to try to win the election. And it just doesn't mesh well with me. I mean, I don't see this open discussion to try to figure out what's noble and what's wonderful and what would be amazingly powerful and good for our country. I see these people just like they're the enemy, they're demons. I don't hate anyone. And I don't want to force my opinion on you. I want you to come to it on, if you want to believe the way I do, that'd be cool. Great, awesome, how you doing? But I want you to come to it on your own. I don't want to have to blast you with propaganda, go to shows or speeches or any of those things. And right now, I have minority opinion. And I know that my vote means nothing. Unless I want to vote for one or two choices that I don't believe in either one, that's pointless.